Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back ready for round 11 of the F1 2020 My Team Career Mode Season 6 here at the Belgian Grand Prix. Yes, the summer break is all now done and dusted. We have got just 6 races to go of this entire series. I cannot believe we are really now in the end game here of F1 2020. It's about to be July at the time of recording this. We've got, one more day left of June, so yeah, really looking forward to F1 2021 coming around the corner this month as well, of course. But big news in the My Team Career Mode, we have put the very last upgrades we ever will to the 2-2 Motorsport car on now. You can see Mercedes still having minor advantage there over Ferrari and ourselves, but I mean, when you look down the order there, really the top 6 teams all still certainly with a shout of winning Grand Prix there. Racing Point, AlphaTauri and Aston Martin still look very much in the game at this stage of the year there. You can see that last upgrade did nudge us back above AlphaTauri and Ferrari there. Mercedes still with a little advantage, but it's certainly not a big one nonetheless though. Having a look championship-wise, tied with George Russell at the top of the standings there, and really, yes, 7 drivers still within a shot of the World Championship, unless, of course, Red Bull and Max Verstappen can have a big resurgence of form in the latter stages of this year. It's going to be exciting. 6 races to go. If you aren't already, make sure you get yourself subscribed. We are agonisingly close to 15,000 subscribers now. I think at the time of recording this, we're less than 30 away at this stage, so if you can help us get one step closer, it would be greatly appreciated. But back at the best track in Formula 1, we're here for the Belgian Grand Prix today. Let's dive into qualifying. Right, post-commentary Matt is going to have to come in here today, unfortunately. Heading out into our first Q1 run, you can see we've got another wet qualifying session at this stage of the year. Now, I don't know what keeps happening at this stage of the campaign. I think, like I said, we've had about 8 races of the 11 that have either had a wet qualifying or a wet race so far this year there. F1 2020 is pushing me to the limits for our 5th World Championship here. But yeah, you can see come towards the end of our first lap, P7 at this stage of the session there, so we should be comfortably through into Q2 there. You can see that the track is getting dry very quickly here, so I think we've actually got a couple of runners that have gone out on a set of these soft compound tyres. But as we head back down in towards Eau Rouge and Radion here, I thought I'd go for a second run in this session here. We need to try and find a bit more time there as we just get a bit loose up through Eau Rouge and Radion there, try to catch the slide. Unfortunately not able to do so in that situation here. Out of Q1 here for the Grand Prix. But normally, F1 2020 normally allows you to carry on. Unfortunately, this time round, things got a bit strange. So in a shocking turn of events then, at the end of Q1, both myself and Charles Leclerc out at the end of the first qualifying there. But we were quicker than Latifi and Max Verstappen? I've never seen that on F1 2020. We have been robbed of a Q2 appearance here in the Belgian Grand Prix. We did our outlap, got the lap on the board. Apparently the track got quick enough to go onto the dries at the end of the session there. You see why that's why all those top guys were so far clear. But we were quicker than Verstappen and Latifi. We should have been through into Q2. I don't know what's happened there. No, we're into Q2, surely. We're P16. Are we going to get a run in Q2? Well, I guess the answer is no. We're not going to get a run in Q2 here for the Belgian Grand Prix. Were we technically out then in Q1? I don't really know what's happened there, I'll be honest with you guys. But we start P16 on the grid. We've just got to get on with it here today in the Belgian Grand Prix.
We're in Belgium once again for today's round of the Formula 1 World Championship. It's a race the great Ayrton Senna won 6 times, and in 2019, Charles Leclerc became the first driver to take their maiden win here since Michael Schumacher in 1992. Spa-Francorchamps then, a historic 19-corner circuit with a lap distance of 4.35 miles. There's over 100 metres of elevation change here, and with long stretches of the lap spent flat out, a good top speed will be vital for success. Anthony Davidson, thanks for joining me once again for the Grand Prix. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. They're starting towards the back of the field today in a car that is fast, so they'll be disappointed, won't they?
It's not a nice feeling, I promise you. They've got a quick car underneath them, but they've got onto the grid today and they need a pair of binoculars to see the start lights. They'll be desperate for a good start to make up for some of that deficit.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Daniel Kvyat will start today from pole position, with Pierre Gasly alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Stroll, Giotto, Max Verstappen and Hamilton, Albon, Perez, Ocon and Carlos Sainz, Norris, Joe, Kimi Raikkonen and Latifi, Mr. Monaco, Leclerc, Kevin Magnussen and George Russell. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. De Vries, Giovinazzi, Matsushita and Jordan King. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Well, if this season couldn't get any more unpredictable, then George Russell, championship leader, tied on points with myself, somehow starts behind us with a grid penalty here for the Belgian Grand Prix. We've just got to get our head down and focus today. AlphaTauri look rapid around this circuit as well, so we'll see what those guys can do over the course of the race. But yeah, if we can try and get back in the top 10, if we can take the championship lead today, I'll be quite happy with that. But yeah, like I said, those guys looking rather quick, so maybe we'll see, you know, the likes of Pierre Gasly and Danny Kvyat close back in some big points this weekend. Then we're going to go mediums on the start, try and get to the soft period towards the end of the Grand Prix. It's looking dry all race long. We've had so many wet sessions. I think we've genuinely had like 4 races this year that haven't had either a wet qualifying or a wet race. Really, really strange. F1 2020 pushing us to the limits in this final season. But let's get in then here to the Belgian Grand Prix. Round 11 of the World Championship. Just waiting on those 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go. Responding not too well as we head down towards turn 1. But that was to be expected on the harder rubber there. Kimi Raikkonen going for the send of all sends. Making up a few spots straight off the marks then. From 13th to 9th. Out of turn 1 there is now Charles Leclerc. Can have a look up the inside as we head down in towards Rouge. I'm bailing out of that. I did not think Charles Leclerc was going to bail out, and I was right to guess he wasn't going to bail out of that one as well. There is George Russell's actually lost a place to Kevin Magnussen off the start of this Grand Prix as well there as we head up the Kemmel Straight for the first time. We've got one of the Haas cars, Nick De Vries that is, trying to send it up the inside. We need to look after our car though today. We're in it for the long haul here as the Haas cars going side by side down the hill there. But yeah, very, very chaotic start to the Grand Prix. Like I said, we got to try and look after the car. We're in it for the long game here today. We can walk away with the championship lead still, despite starting in P16 there. Of course, we've got an 18-point gap behind us. If I remember correctly, it's Charles Leclerc having a look up the inside of Latifi down through Pouon. We might be able to capitalise on this there as the Williams does finally bail out down in towards the Fanyas chicane around the outside of the Williams. And yeah, with way more grip than poor Latifi there. Both Williams though have been doing alright over the course of this campaign so far. But yeah, we do end up holding on to a position then by the end of that one. Really do need to work with Charles Leclerc today to try and get ourselves back up the order. Of course, this could be a massive weekend for AlphaTauri and their Constructors' Championship hopes. Obviously, of course, for both their drivers as well, could really leapfrog themselves back to contention here. But can we get a good run on our teammate Charles Leclerc? No, nowhere near going to get close enough this time around, so we'll bail out early. Try and save a little bit of our ERS once more. But yeah, if we can both get back up inside the top 10, that would be rather good. But again, playing the long game. Oh, Charles Leclerc having a look on Lando Norris there, as Norris just going a bit defensive in towards the final corner. Kvyat another new fastest lap of the Grand Prix here. But yeah, Charles really needs to try and get past Lando here. Otherwise, we might need to start having a look for moves on our teammate. 42.8 on lap 2 of a Grand Prix on medium tyres. That's just how quick Formula 1 has become. Here we go then, Charles Leclerc should have a big run on Lando Norris as we head up the Kemmel Straight there, 220 miles an hour for ourselves as well, as Charles has a look round the outside. Can he find the grip? Yes, he can. And a little bit of contact between the pair of them there as Lando tries to hang on. And I think Lando might have just held on this time round, as this is just not helping any of us. You can see the gap, how much time we've lost to the guys in front there. Charles Leclerc around the outside through the hairpin and clean past him before No Name does now move up into P13. Now we hopefully are going to be able to follow him past. Right, let's see if we can get a run then on Lando Norris as we head up in towards Blanchemont. We use the rest of our overtake for the remainder of this lap. Got to really try and time it though. Don't want to get all over his rear wing in the middle of the corner there. We do time it perfectly, just getting out of the overtake for just a short period. Dipper wheel on the grass in towards the breaker zone there. A huge lockup, but we do get it slowed down. We'll hang Lando out to dry. And he's lost 2 places in 1 lap to both the 2-2 Motorsport cars.
Let's keep an eye on fuel. We'd like to have options available for us towards the end.
Okay. Not too sure how we managed fastest lap at the end of lap 4 there, but we'll take it nonetheless. Would have thought the Avatars at the front of the field would have been going a lot quicker than that. Let's just see now if we can try and get a run then on our teammate Charles Leclerc. Don't feel like he's holding me up particularly, just if we can try and get round him, that would be nice and ideal there. As we just hang on between the white lines, we'll use a load of our battery as we head up onto the Camel straight there to the inside of Charles Leclerc, and this should be a fairly clear-cut move. Cleanly ahead of our teammate before the next braking zone. And we're up another spot. As much as I love heading back to the Belgian Grand Prix, it's actually been an awful track for us on F1 2020. We've only ever actually taken the 1 win round here in the My Team career mode, and that came last season, if I remember correctly there, where we won the race pretty much on the final corner of the final lap. So yeah, really, as much as I do, love the Belgian Grand Prix circuit, it clearly has not loved me on F1 2020 there. I feel like I'm part of the Lance Stroll meme when he says you love the sport and it just doesn't love you back. But anyway, Guan Yu Zhou, next man on the old hit list. Get really close to him at the end of the Camel straight there, as I'm nowhere near the same pace as his Racing Point teammate. Tries to get the cut back on us, but we are wise to that. And we will hang him out to dry up into 12. As I said about Red Bull, could maybe squeeze himself back in the title challenge. Sat in P11. And I think P8, I want to say. I might be wrong. It might be P7, P6. Probably isn't going to help them all too much. Oh, we got yellow flags out. Someone's having issues in this Grand Prix. Who is it going to be? Trying to look on the mini-map there. Oh, it's George Russell! George Russell, championship leader, out of the Belgian Grand Prix there. And it's not even going to give us a safety car as well there. So a big shock in this race. And this is a golden opportunity for us now to try and take out some big points in George Russell in this title campaign there. So the 2 title leaders tied on points heading into this Grand Prix, and at 1/3 race distance, neither are looking to score. George Russell being at this Grand Prix though certainly doesn't mean we can now just sit back and relax throughout the rest of this GP, trying to close up to Esteban Ocon, but that Red Bull is mighty fast down the straight, it must be said. We have got a bit closer. We'll have a look up the inside. Oh, Ocon just spots us at the last minute there as Hamilton dives into the pit lane just up the road there. He joins Max Verstappen as the first of the pitters here. Don't think we've got anyone else in at the end of the lap. So now we are going to get ourselves up into the points of the Belgian Grand Prix. There is now, we've got 2 Renault-powered cars just in front of us. We've got more yellow flags out. Who's now having issues? It's Albon. Alexander Albon out of the Grand Prix as well, so that might now bring out a safety car in this Grand Prix. Can we try and get past Sainz before it gets called, if there is going to be one? Albon out, and no we cannot, and this might really screw us here in the Belgian Grand Prix. Everyone else, this is the prime time to pit for the rest of the field there, but it certainly isn't for us. Do we now go on to a set of softs and then back onto another set of mediums? Do we risk it, stay out, try and pull out a gap, and then pit for a set of softs? I think we're going to have to. We can't really do anything else here. I don't want to go onto hards. They just don't work around this track. We're going to have to stay out and then hope we can fly towards the end of this Grand Prix. So I'm only going to guess then that we're going to see all of the front runners into the pits at the end of this lap. So we are going to inherit the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix, albeit just for a brief period here. But yeah, now, when the safety car does come in, we're going to need to absolutely tank it round, try and build up a little bit of an advantage if we can. Obviously, already having a lot of experience on these tyres there, as Kvyat's gone hards. Everyone else has gone hards in this Grand Prix. This could be a lifeline for us later on. Oh, don't hit the safety car, Matt. We might have a big advantage later on in this race when we do eventually make our stop. This could come back to us. It's not over yet. Right, we're getting ready then to go green here from the Belgian Grand Prix once more. We've got half a race to go, and it is all still to play for. We are, I think, the only driver that still needs to make a pit stop in this Grand Prix, but we are letting the safety car get really, really far in front. I'm thinking about going around... Well, we need to give ourselves a nice run in towards the final corner. Let's go, Rich Rivs. Let's go overtake now and try and pull away from Danny Capure as we head up in towards the final corners of the lap there. Of course, they might gain a little bit back through the final couple of turns there, but we've left it really, really early, actually. We really bunched up the field as we head in towards the final couple of corners here. We need to try and get Capure out of DRS if possible, obviously before it becomes a thing once more in this Grand Prix. But, on the other hand, we now can try and take these mediums a little bit longer. I'm thinking end of 14. That should mean the softs that we go on to should still be quick right the way through to the end of the Grand Prix here. But we need to use all the overtake, all the rich revs that we've got in the car, lap after lap after lap.
Rain is forecast in just over 10 minutes' time. Rain in 10 minutes.
Because that's really what we need in this Grand Prix, is it, Jeff? The now potential of rain here at the Belgian Grand Prix. We'll have to keep tabs on that, because if we think it might come towards the end of the Grand Prix, it might be worth trying to hang out on it here on these mediums. Not too sure if that's going to be a worthwhile strategy, but we'll wait and see. Just looking at it, Franz Tost might have a very, very difficult call to make in the latter stages of this Grand Prix. Kvyat still is in the net lead here of this race, but I'm sure with some slipstream and DRS, Gasly might be able to try and have a look past him here. They cannot cost each other any time, though. The likes of Lance Stroll still very much in this title hunt as well there, and AlphaTauri need as many points as they can this weekend, because they have been given a lifeline over the likes of Mercedes and ourselves here. We're going to come into the pits, not this lap, next lap, as we almost set a 139 on a dead set of mediums. This is ridiculous. Well, we've pretty much got everything we possibly can out of these mediums at this stage of the day, so we will come in at the end of this lap onto a fresh set of soft compound tyres to try and make our way through to the end of this race. However, there is still a lot to play for at this late stage of the day. You can see the field has spread out quite quickly there. I think one of the Williams, I'm going to guess that's Latifi, has got quite a big advantage over the rest of the back markers. If we can come out around him, certainly feel like some big points are still on here today, but we'll have to keep our head down and really try and smash it out between now and the end of the Grand Prix. Nice and brave into the pit lane. Don't do anything stupid, though. That was a bit close. At one moment then, nudging the pit wall. We just about get it slowed down into the pit lane as well. There's Kvyat, Gasly, Stroll, Giotto, Hamilton. Perez is going to fly past as well there, as well as, I think that's Carlos Sainz in P8. Our teammate and Esteban Ocon as well. Where are we going to rejoin in this Grand Prix? It's a good stop by the team. No, it's not. Can't find the car in gear. So we're going to lose that a little bit there. But as we head back out of the pit lane, we're going to come out exactly where I thought I would. Right next to the Williams of Nicholas Latifi in this Grand Prix. So we're going to use a load of our battery as we head back out of the pit lane. They're already closing back in on the Williams as we head up through a Rouge and Radion. Out onto the Kemmel straight here. Should be a fairly textbook move. Come on, Latifi. You can't do that, mate. And back up into P14 of the Grand Prix. We've got Norris 2 seconds up the road, but we are going to be surely seconds a lap faster than the rest of the field. And when I say seconds faster than the rest of the field, I mean seconds faster than the rest of the field there. Already taking nearly 2 seconds out of Lando Norris in just one half a lap here of the Belgian Grand Prix circuit. Can we get close enough again to try and go for something? Make sure we don't get too close up through Blanchimont once more. Is Lando going to go defensive? Yes, he is. So we'll dart to the outside at the very last second. They're late on the brakes, and we'll do exactly the same move to him that we already did in this Grand Prix there. This time around, he tries not to get hung out, but just doesn't have the grip on the rest of the corner there. Next up, trying to close up to Raikkonen and Guan Yu Zhou here as we head back down through turn 1. They're both are. No, Raikkonen's definitely going to get some DRS. Is Guan Yu Zhou in front of him going to get some DRS off of Max Verstappen here? We'll have to wait and see as we head up through a Rouge and Radion once more in this Grand Prix. 7 laps to go here from the Belgian Grand Prix. And look at that, Raikkonen closing in on Guan Yu Zhou there. Oh my, Raikkonen! Holy moly! I have never seen anything like that on F1 2020 there. Raikkonen isn't even out of the Grand Prix. I'm guessing he tried to overcorrect with the DRS open, and has just completely taken himself out of the Belgian Grand Prix here. Like I said, I have never seen anything like that on this game. Belgium today has thrown up all the weird and wonderful. And sometimes the scary as well. That certainly wasn't weird or wonderful. That must be said for Raikkonen. Can we get past Guan Yu Zhou, though, in this Grand Prix there? As Raikkonen, yeah, like I said, still driving the car, so must be okay. Get up the inside of Guan Yu Zhou before we even get in towards Blanchimont this time around. And we're now just outside of the points once more here in Belgium. Like I said, still some big points available today if we keep our head down and keep hitting the lap times. Oh, that's a lot of curb. That was a bit cheeky. Next up, though, Max Verstappen. Hasn't taken us long before we're all over the back of Max Verstappen here and maybe looking back into the points of the Belgian Grand Prix. Look at the cloud coverage, though. It certainly is getting very, very overcast here in the Belgian Grand Prix. To be honest, if we got a little bit of drizzle now, it would probably help us out even more. Obviously, being on the softer, quicker, and fresher rubber there, Verstappen, tries to go very, very defensive there, but we were absolutely dead set on getting up the inside. Should be able to make the move work. Big kick of oversteer on the exit. Surely Verstappen's going to get back past us there. So we head back down towards turn 1. We'll go for another send on the Dutchman. And we will then, this time round, pull off the move. Sainz and Ocon really battling it out there, as that's going to give us a big old chance on our teammate Charles Leclerc. So we head down in towards the hairpin. Can we hook it up right around the outside of our teammate there? He tries to hang on up the inside. A big kick of oversteer, though. That puts him in his place on the exit of the corner there. It might leave him slightly vulnerable to Max Verstappen as well. But we do now move up into P9 of the Belgian Grand Prix, mainly only briefly, though. As Charles Leclerc tries to get a run back down the hill on us, but not quite this time. Run on Carlos Sainz then as we head out through in towards Blanchimont once more. McLaren, yeah, with that Renault power unit, really just haven't delivered this year, where so many other teams have. Big squeeze from Carlos Sainz, but we do get clean up the inside before we even get towards Blanchimont. Hopefully now we'll look past Ocon down the Kemmel Straight. 4 laps to go then here from Belgium. And this is still plenty more left to play for in this Grand Prix. Perez is 2.6 up the road, but like I said, hopefully we can get Ocon here. It's not even going to be a competition. Ocon just nothing to defend himself with. The team's saying that was a nice overtake. I could have probably done that in my sleep, I'll be honest. Couldn't have saved that power slide though in my sleep. Right, come on then, Perez. Let's see what you've got, as we've got just 2 laps to go here from the Belgian Grand Prix. If we can get past Perez in a good spot, we might still be able to get Hamilton in this Grand Prix, but it's certainly going to be close towards the end of this race there. But unfortunately for us, the 2 big teams we needed to outscore this weekend for our Constructors' Championship are definitely going to pull further away, setting another new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Like I said, 2 laps to go here from Belgium. If we can get past Perez first, then we can set all our focus on Hamilton on the final lap of this Grand Prix here. Is Perez going to have anything to defend himself with? Renault, not normally a bad car down the straights, but certainly not a particularly notable one anymore in the world of Formula 1. Let's see what we can do then. Sergio Perez, he's not doing badly at the moment, but once you get a bit more pickup, should be clean around the outside in towards the braking zone there. It's pretty even on the brakes, but we do, have way more grip still at this stage of the day. And now the gap to Hamilton, 1.7 seconds. 1 more lap to go then here from the Belgian Grand Prix, and can we get inside the DRS of Lewis Hamilton? A big kick of oversteer out the final corner. Another new fastest lap, but that might just have cost us. If we can get into some DRS, we might still be able to get close to the Mercedes man here, but I don't think we are as we head back out of turn 1 there. The gap's still 1.3 seconds as we head on to the final lap of this Grand Prix, but there is now some rain starting to fall here at the Belgian Grand Prix. Could this be one final twist in what has been a carnage and chaotic Grand Prix here? Major names falling to the wayside through both qualifying and the Grand Prix there. It's been such a mix-up. AlphaTauri have looked strong all day. Big kick of oversteer there. That's not what we need on the final lap of this Grand Prix, and maybe, just maybe, we push these tyres a bit too hard to really be able to capitalise at the end here. We need it to absolutely bucket down if we want to try and close up to Hamilton here. Of course, is so good in these conditions in the past there, but heading down in towards Pouhon for the final time. Again, big twitches there as we try to keep the foot in. Oh my god, we've hit a bump. Come on, get back on the road. We can't even rejoin. We're going to be out the points. I can't believe it. On the final lap of the Belgian Grand Prix, we have gone and thrown it all away there. We tried to keep the foot in as we head down through Pouhon. And if this season couldn't get any more carnage or chaotic there, who is going to come through to win the Grand Prix? Daniel Kvyat, the 8th winner in 11 races there. Both AlphaTauris, both of the 212 Motorsport cars there. We can't lose to Latifi in this Grand Prix. I'm sorry, that's just not happening. But yeah, both AlphaTauris, both 212 Motorsport cars, all 3 of Mercedes drivers, and Lance Stroll have won races now. 8 drivers in 11 Grand Prix is an absolutely insane statistic. I've clicked all the wrong buttons at this stage of the day as well. But through the final corners, it's going to be a heartbreaking end here in Belgium. It's P13.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Can't fault the performance on the track today. A well-deserved victory. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs. And that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
And it's time now for the podium celebrations, and how well-deserved is this one? This is a team all about giving talented young drivers an opportunity to race and to win. AlphaTauri are your winners here today. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. That lead at the top of the table has shrunk somewhat today. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, AlphaTauri's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
I cannot believe we bottled that right at the end of the Grand Prix. Their heartbreak to finish off the Belgian Grand Prix. And like I said, I love this track, and it just does not love me back on F1 2020 there. Danny Kvyat wins the Belgian Grand Prix there by just 0.6 of a second over his teammate Pierre Gasly there. Lance Stroll finishes P3 ahead of Luca Giotto and Lewis Hamilton there. So since Giotto joined Mercedes, it's now 2-1 between their drivers there. Perez 6th ahead of Ocon, Sainz, Verstappen and Charles Leclerc there. Like I said, Lando Norris just missing ahead of Guan Yu Zhou and myself. And then of course you've got all the backmarket cars. Raikkonen and at the rear of the field there, and both Albon and George Russell not making it to the checkered flag there. But yeah, 8 winners in 11 Grand Prix there. Only Hamilton, Russell and me, I think. Have we won 2 Grand Prix this year, or have we only won the 1? I'm not even sure how many races we've won this year. It's been ridiculous. I think George Russell has won 3 Grand Prix even. Hamilton's won 2. Then, of course, Kvyat, Gasly, Stroll, Giotto, Charles Leclerc, and myself have all won a race as well. There, it's been a worldie of a year up to this point as well there. But do I want to check the championship standings? I'm not sure I do, but we're going to have to here. George Russell still leads the way. 5 cars separated by less than 10 points there. 6 cars, 14 points. This season has turned into an absolute worldie at this stage of the championship there. Yeah, Charles Leclerc might not be a strong name for the championship hunt still, but he's definitely still not out of it at this stage of the year there. Let me know down below your thoughts and feelings, who you believe will be world champion come the end of the season there. But what is the final season of F1 2020 shaking up for? at this stage of the year there. Danny Kvyat moves past Gasly and Hamilton, though. Ocon moves past Albon. Giotto gets the jump on Max Verstappen as well. I mean, Giotto could still be a championship threat come the end of the year there. You can see further down the order, of course, Lando Norris and Guan Yu Zhou dropping places as well there. Magnussen gets the jump on Jordan King on countback as well there. And constructors-wise, we lose the spot out to AlphaTauri as well. They're 63 points back from Mercedes at this stage of the year there. It is not looking good for us at this stage of the championship. We need 5 races to go of the year. We need to smash every single one of them out of the park. Thank you all so much for watching this video nonetheless. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like. Get yourself subscribed as well. What on earth was this Belgian Grand Prix? We'll be back very, very soon ready for the Italian Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.